Welcome back to our channel. This is our recap for the anime Sword of the Demon Hunter. If you enjoy my recaps, please think about subscribing. On a bitterly cold night, Suzu is forcibly dragged through the dirt and thrown into a ramshackle shed by her cruel father, his contempt for her unmistakable. With a voice devoid of warmth, he states outright that he wishes she had never been born. Without a second thought, he locks the door behind him, leaving her to endure the freezing night alone, as if she were nothing more than an afterthought. Not long after, her brother Jinta slips outside and runs to let her out, but when he opens the shed, he freezes because she's gone. Panic hits instantly, so he tears through the village in the dark, calling her name, looking everywhere like a man possessed, until he finally spots her crossing the old bridge at the edge of town. He runs to her, breath ragged, and tells her how sorry he is. Sorry for not standing up to their father, sorry for being too weak to protect her, knowing full well that any attempt to protect her would only land him in trouble. Suzu, born with a demon eye in feudal Japan, has long been branded a cursed child and treated as nothing more than a worthless pest. Aware that her fate is sealed with such an affliction, she tells Jinta to just go home without her. After a long, heavy moment of silence, Jinta, overwhelmed by love for his sister, declares that he cherishes her more than the rest of their family. So he takes her hand and pleads with her to run away with him. They take off together, with no clue where they're headed, just putting the village behind them. Rain pours harder and the cold bites deep into their skin. Eventually, Jinta finds an old ruined building and they crawl inside, soaking wet and shaking, so they huddle close for warmth. Suzu passes out first, and just as Jinta's about to do the same, he notices a man approaching and hears him say something about taking them in. Next thing Jinta knows, he's waking up on the man's back, still half asleep. Suzu walks silently beside him, holding the man's hand. Relieved to see Jinta awake, the man sets him down, and they continue until they reach his village, called Kadono, a community largely composed of blacksmiths, renowned for forging katanas, all hard at work. The man then escorts Jinta and Suzu to his home, and as soon as the door swings open, his daughter darts out to greet him, excited yet curious about the two children trailing behind. The man tells her that Jinta and Suzu will now be living with them. He asks his daughter if she's okay with this, and she lights up at the prospect, thrilled to have new friends to play with. She eagerly approaches Jinta and introduces herself as Shiryuki, hoping the three of them will get along splendidly from now on. That night, Jinta can't fall asleep, so Motoharu asks if something's bothering him. He's sitting nearby, cleaning his sword, so Jinta ends up asking if he's a samurai. But Motoharu says he's not. He tells Jinta he's actually a sentinel, and his job is to protect the people and places that matter most. Later, Jinta and Suzu head out to the river, where they meet up with Shiryuki and Chidos. On the way back, Jinta brings up Yokazi, Shiryuki's mother, who helped him and Suzu stay in the village. Shiryuki explains that Yokazi isn't just her mom, she's the shrine maiden of Itsuki-hame. Chosen by a fire supreme being, and no one's allowed to see her except the village chief and her sentinel, who also happens to be her husband, Madoharu. The next morning, Jinta trains with Madoharu, but since he's still a rookie with the sword, he keeps getting knocked to the ground without even landing a hit. Madoharu doesn't go easy on him either, but tells him that if he keeps training, he'll get there eventually. Years go by, and Jinta ends up becoming the new sentinel for the Shrine Maiden. Now he's sitting in a meeting with the village officials and the maiden herself. She stays hidden behind a curtain, as usual. And once the meeting begins, she starts by praising Jinta for how well he's handled recent demon threats. Jinta keeps it humble, says he's just doing his job. The last demon he fought had taken on human form and tried to sneak into the village. One of the officials starts looking uneasy after hearing that, and the others ask Jinta if he knows why a demon would try to do something like that. Someone suggests that the demon might have been after the Shrine Maiden, since there's a legend that says if a demon eats a maiden's liver, it becomes immortal. But it could also be after the Yor sword. That blade's been passed down through Shrine Maidens for generations, and it's a major artifact, so it would make sense that demons would target it too. One of them adds that the Yare was forged by one of the most skilled blacksmiths in recorded history, and it's rumoured to have mystical powers sealed inside. If demons are truly after it, then things could get real bad for the village. So the chief tells everyone to stay alert, but Kiyomasa doesn't seem worried at all. He says there's nothing to be afraid of, since both he and Jinta are guarding the maiden. But then he throws a jab and says he doesn't think Jinta's cut out for the job. That's enough to set Jinta off, and the two of them look like they're about to argue. But before it goes too far, the chief steps in, along with the maiden, and tells them both to shut it. The meeting wraps up, and everyone starts leaving the shrine. Everyone. Except Jinta, since it's his job to stay and protect the shrine maiden. Once they're alone, the shrine maiden finally steps out of her room, and it turns out to be Shiryuki. Jinta immediately questions her, asking what the hell she's doing showing herself like that. She's supposed to keep hidden, but Shiryuki brushes it off because she and Jinta have known each other forever, and she doesn't see the point in pretending to be formal around him. She casually mentions that Suzu's here too, which catches Jinta off guard. The shrine is supposed to be off limits to outsiders, especially regular villagers like Suzu. So technically, she's not supposed to be here at all. When they find Suzu asleep nearby, she looks exactly the same as she did years ago, like time hasn't touched her. She jumps up the moment she sees Jinta, and lights up, happy to finally see her big brother again. He's been so busy hunting demons that she barely ever gets to spend time with him anymore. But even though Jinta's happy to see her too, he doesn't hold back and scolds her for sneaking into the shrine. She tries to argue, saying it's not fair that Jinta can see Shiryuki whenever he wants, but she can't. Still, rules are rules, and Jinta tells her flat out to go back home. After Suzu leaves, the village chief shows up again, saying he needs to talk to Shiryuki about something important. He asks Jinta to give them some space, but Jinta refuses at first. He's her sentinel, and he's supposed to stay close no matter what. But Shiryuki steps in and tells him to take the rest of the day off. After a short pause, he gives in and heads out. Meanwhile, beyond the village walls, two demons are tracking Suzu. Her demon eye caught their attention, and they've made her their next target. Later that evening, Shiryuki sneaks out of the shrine and meets up with Jinta, because there's something serious she needs to get off her chest. Earlier, during her talk with the chief, he told her that she needs to start preparing to produce an heir, just in case something happens to her. With the recent demon attacks, it's not that far-fetched. If she dies, someone has to take her place. So, the decision was made, and she's going to marry Kiyomasa. He's the chief's son, and he's expected to take over the village one day anyway. Jinta finds himself conflicted by the news, and Shiryuki too is far from pleased. In a moment of vulnerable honesty, she confesses that she is in love with Jinta, and had even planned to ask him to run away together, to start a new life. However, she knows he would never agree, because Jinta had sworn an oath to protect this village, dedicating years of rigorous training to become strong enough to defend it. Shiryuki too took a solemn vow when she became the Shrine Maiden, so running away now would be nothing short of an insult to everything they have both sacrificed and built. More time passes, and Jinta finds himself called into another meeting. This time it's to report a demon sighting in the forest. Without hesitation, he's assigned to take it down, and he gets ready to head out immediately. But just before he can leave, Kiyomasa steps in and blocks his path. He brings up the obvious. Surely Jinta's heard by now that Shiryuki's going to marry him. So he doesn't get why the damn Jinta's acting like it doesn't bother him. Jinta keeps a straight face and tells him there's nothing to be upset about, because all that matters to him is keeping the village safe and protecting the Shrine Maiden, and that's it. The crazy part is that Kiyomasa isn't even trying to gloat, because he knows exactly how this looks. He knows Jinta and Shiryuki love each other, and even if he's the one marrying her, none of it feels right. It just feels messed up. But Jinta doesn't flinch, because he's already made his choice. And without another word, he turns and leaves the village to handle his mission, deep in the forest. It doesn't take long before the demon shows itself. It's a massive brute, and it comes at him fast. But before things kick off, Jinta asks if it's working alone, because the report said there were supposed to be two. The demon, Duga, grins and says his partner had something else to take care of, back in the village. That's not good. But Jinta has no choice but to deal with this one first. He charges in and lands a brutal swing, slicing straight through one of the demon's arms. But instead of screaming in pain, Duga just backs up and laughs. He picks up the severed limb like it's nothing and tells Jinta he's impressed, because not many people can land a hit like that. Meanwhile, back in the village, Suzu comes face to face with the second demon, Taumi. She freezes on the spot, absolutely terrified. But Taumi just smiles and tells her there's no need to be afraid, because after all, Suzu's a demon too, just like her. Suzu immediately denies it and refuses to believe it, but Taumi can see right through her. She figures out fast that Suzu's unwavering love for Jinta must be preventing her from fully embracing her demonic nature, a notion that she finds both ironic and oppressive, as it implies Jinta has showered Suzu with so much affection that it stunts her transformation. Suzu loves Jinta more than anything, so hearing Tomi say that makes her feel calmer. She starts to relax a bit, and now that she isn't so scared anymore, Tomi makes her offer. She asks Suzu to join her, to use her power and help out. She promises she won't hurt her, and since everyone knows demons can't lie, she says Suzu can trust her. But Suzu shakes her head, because she knows that even if Tomi means what she says, helping her might lead to Jinta getting hurt, and that's a risk she can't take. Tomi frowns, but she doesn't give up. Instead, she changes tactics and shows Suzu a vision. In the vision, Suzu sees Shiryuki undressing and preparing to do the wild deed in the shrine, and this shit sight makes Suzu's stomach turn. Not because of what she's doing, but because it's not Jinta doing it with her. And that's what really guts her. She turns to Tomi, shaken, and asks if the vision she saw was real. Tomi explains that her ability lets her see into the future, and she can project those visions into someone else's mind, which is exactly what Suzu just experienced. But if she still doesn't believe it, Tomi says she's more than willing to take her to the shrine right now, so she can see the whole hot show with her own eyes. Meanwhile, out in the woods, Jinta is still locked in combat with Duga. But before they clash again, he stops and demands to know why demons attack humans. So Duga replies simply that each demon has a purpose, and his purpose is to stall Jinta. Endowed with the power of assimilation, Duga can consume other demons to acquire their abilities and even reshape his own body at will. Jinta doesn't have time to sit and chat, so he launches forward, determined to end the fight in one strike. But as soon as he moves in, Duga smashes his arm clean off. And when Jinta tries to counter by aiming for the neck, Duga bites down on the blade and shatters it in one snap. It should have been over, and Jinta should have died right there. But at the last second, Jinta grabs a shard from the broken sword, and with all the strength he has left, he slams it straight into Duga's heart. In a surprising twist, Duga accepts his defeat with a grim sort of satisfaction, and he reveals that his partner demon possesses foresight, having seen 170 years into the future. And according to her vision, the mightiest demon of all time resides here, a revelation that makes Jinta suspect she's referring to Suzu. But before he can move, Duga says he's got one last parting gift for him. Suddenly, his severed arm springs to life, grabs Jinta's head and squeezes it tight until he blacks out. Back at the shrine, Kiyomasa is already on top of Shiryuki. All he needs to do is finish the job, get her pregnant, and secure the heir. With Jinta off on his mission, it's the perfect time. Otherwise, the poor guy would have had to sit outside and listen, while Shiryuki moaning from inside the shrine. And as messed up as it is, Kiyomasa already feels guilty enough. But before any damn thing can happen, the curtains rip open, and Tomi appears, dragging Suzu behind her to show her exactly what the hell is going down, and that shit show makes Suzu break. In the meantime, Jinta wakes up in the middle of the forest. Somehow his arm is back, restored like nothing ever happened, but there's no time to question it. If Tomi really made it into the village, then Suzu could already be in danger. So he gets up and takes off running, full speed toward home. At the same time, Suzu is stuck trying to process everything she just saw. Watching Shiryuki and Jinta in love was already hard, but she swallowed it all for the sake of Jinta's happiness. She even refused to grow up, kept herself frozen in that same small body, just so she wouldn't be a burden on their relationship. But now, she finds out Shiryuki is marrying someone else. So that was it. That was the last crack, before everything shattered, and her mind breaks, because she couldn't believe Shiryuki would throw Jinta away like that. Then, with a few twisted words from Tomi, Suzu completely snaps and decides that Shiryuki has to die. Her demon power erupts like wildfire, and the entire room floods with black smoke. Her body begins to change, maturing into her adult form in a matter of seconds. Kiyomasa grabs the legendary sword and charges at her, but before he can even swing, Tomi steps in and knocks him out cold. Then she drags him outside, saying she has her own plans for him, and just like that, Shiryuki is left face to face with Suzu. Not long after, Jinta arrives at the shrine, relieved to find that Shiryuki is still alive. He rushes to embrace her, only for his relief to turn to horror, because a split second later, Suzu slashes off Shiryuki's head, stunned into silence. Jinta watches as Suzu steps from the shadows, holding the severed head in her grasp like it's nothing. When he demands to know why she did it, Suzu launches into her explanation. About the marriage, about the betrayal, about how it wasn't fair. But Jinta doesn't care, because he already knew, and even if he didn't, it still doesn't justify killing her. So at that moment, he realizes that the Suzu he once cared for is gone. And now, with Shiryuki dead, Jinta realizes he has nothing left to care about. Only vengeance. As the battle within him intensifies, a demonic arm begins to merge with the rest of Jinta's body, transforming him into something altogether different. His expression turns ice cold, and his eyes are filled with nothing but hate. And when he looks at Suzu now, it's not with sadness, it's with pure disgust. She can't understand why, because all she ever wanted was to make him happy, and that's all she tried to do. But the look in his eyes tells her everything. He's done with her, just like everyone else. So she decides to end it. If Jinta's going to turn his back on her, then she'll kill him too, and she drives her blade into his stomach. But nothing happens. Jinta doesn't even flinch. So in the next second, he drives his fist straight through her chest. Suzu collapses, gasping, blood pouring out of her. But she's not dead yet. So as Jinta moves in to finish her, Tami throws herself in the way. She takes the full hit, sacrificing herself to save Suzu one last time. As she starts fading, she tells Suzu to leave and run while she still can. Suzu stumbles away, weak and broken, but alive. And just before she disappears, she turns back one final time and tells Jinta that she has nothing left, that this world took everything from her. And no matter how long it takes, she'll be back. And when she returns, she'll burn it all to the ground. And on the final day, she'll kill him for betraying her. Hearing her vow, Tami's eyes gleam with wild excitement. Because she believes that by fulfilling Suzu's promise of vengeance, she has finally accomplished her purpose. Her maniacal laughter reverberates, inciting Jinta's fury, as he struggles to understand how the hell they could regard needless death as their ultimate goal. Tami, sensing his outrage, calmly reveals that in the far future she saw. Demons don't exist anymore. Humans had evolved so far that demons faded into myth. But now, with someone like Suzu alive and fully awakened, the bloodline won't end. And she smiles one last time and fades away for good. Later, tragedy strikes in Kodono, as a massive fire devastates the land and homes. Amid the ruins, Jinta cradles the lifeless body of the princess, consumed by guilt for failing to protect her, and he fervently confesses his love for her. The following morning, while the villagers begin rebuilding from the ashes, Jinta prepares to head out. That's when the village leader greets him warmly and learns of his plans to venture forth and defend humanity against the looming threat of a demon lord, whom some fear. Might even be Suzu. The old man, with sorrow in his eyes, wonders if Jinta can truly bring himself to slay his own sister. In response, Jinta bitterly declares that he has no choice but to harbour hatred for the one who murdered the woman he loved, even as he hopes for a more merciful resolution to come. But before departing, the village head presents Jinta with a revered Yare sword, declaring that henceforth he shall be known as Jinya, though Jinta feels unworthy of such an honour. The elder explains that the demise of the Itsuki Heim lineage left a void, that only someone of Jinta's character could fill. In a moment of contrition, the old man falls to his knees and apologizes for forcing the princess into marriage with Kiyomasa, insisting that his actions were meant only to appease his son, not to benefit Kodono. Jinta, despite the bitterness in his heart, accepts the apology and helps the man up. Then, he sets off on his journey, with the hope of one day saving the people from the coming calamity. As he departs, the chief vows to erect a shrine in his honour and name it Jinta Shrine, so that if he ever returns, the village will remember the hero he once was. But before he leaves, Chidos rushes up to him, tearfully reminding him that she still sees him as the caring big brother he used to be. Gently, Jinta reassures her that he will return someday, with the village fading into the distance behind him. Jinta reflects on the demon's unsettling contentment in fulfilling its grim purpose. Steeling himself for the long and arduous journey ahead, he marches onward. After many years of travel, he finally arrives at a remote temple, where he meets a young girl, whom he believes to be the temple's